The voltage-controlled switch matrix is a great tool for building generative-style sequences. I'm going to rebuild this patch from scratch to show you how we can easily create dynamic and evolving patterns. Everything over here can be ignored for now. It's a simple synth voice with two oscillators that are being mixed together and then routed to the top channel of the dual low-pass gate. The output of the dual low-pass gate is going straight to Ableton Live, and the CV input is being modulated by a decay envelope. The voltage-controlled switch matrix uses precision resistors, allowing it to process quantized CV with no pitch errors. We have two sequences coming from Ableton Live via our MIDI to CV converter. The CV will be applied to the volt per octave inputs on our oscillators, and the gate will be used to trigger our decay envelope. You can hear how simple and repetitive this sequence is. We'll listen to the second sequence by taking the output from the second channel of our MIDI to CV converter. The second sequence is similarly simple and repetitive. The voltage-controlled switch matrix will allow us to alternate back and forth between these two sequences to create a new, more complex composite sequence. The first channel of the voltage-controlled switch matrix will be used to alternate between our two CV sequences, which I'll set up with these red cables. The output will be connected to our volt per octave inputs on our oscillators. The adjacent channel will be used to switch between our two gate sequences, which I'll set up with these green cables. The output of this channel will be used to trigger the flip-flop style clock divider on duophonic distribution. The comparator through will be used to trigger our decay envelope. The comparator through will pass our gate sequence unaffected by the clock divider. The flip output will be used to clock our A162 clock divider. Duophonic distribution isn't essential to this patch, I'm just using it for an extra layer of clock division. If we take any of the outputs from the dope for clock divider, we can automate the switching between our two sequences. If we use longer clock divisions, it will sound like we are simply alternating between two different patterns. If we use shorter clock divisions, we can alternate between the two sequences more rapidly, creating what sounds like a completely new pattern. Currently, we are changing the CV and gate sequences simultaneously. We can create more variation within our new pattern by changing the CV and gate sequences at different rates. The voltage-controlled switch matrix has a built-in clock divider, so by simply removing the gate feeding channel 3, we can introduce a different clock division. This allows us to mix and match our original CV and gate sequences. Sometimes the first CV sequence will be paired with the second gate sequence and vice versa. Alternatively, we can just grab two different outputs from the dope for clock divider and apply them to the two different gate inputs. On the voltage-controlled switch matrix, the outputs of the two top channels are internally normalized to the inputs on the two bottom channels. So if I grab one of the outputs on channel 4, I can use our gate sequence to momentarily trigger another voice. The full-wave rectifier on duophonic distribution is being used to process the triangle output of our second oscillator. This gives us a voice that is an octave higher than our original sequence. And we can use the output of channel 2 to momentarily route our new CV sequence to the dynamic CV input of our dual low-pass gate. And with nothing patched to the gate inputs on these bottom channels, they will simply respond to the built-in clock divider of the voltage-controlled switch matrix. This is just the beginning of the possibilities with the voltage-controlled switch matrix. This patch could be made more complex with more complicated initial sequences, or with a voltage-controlled clock divider.